We need Trump in the world to expose the political agenda and for people to see reality what it is. And the people soft right now, right? And the reason the people soft because it ain't no spiritual warrior masculinity in society.
Trying to aiming to ban social media flaunting. You know, people flossing their wealth. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't want my daughter to even have a choice to butch up her body.
How do somebody go about breaking the mindset of making excuses?
He push past those feelings and he think about his vision. He think about his will, his plan, his ideas and shit. He execute. That's man.
If it's a problem, it's a solution.
That's not acceptable for men to do.
I'm building, I'm writing down my goals, and I'm executing, I'm on my mission, tunnel vision.
I like the setting of man to man, man. It's just like a safe space to just speak freely upon everything.
Like, we talk like men.
Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of the Man to Man podcast, where we talk as guys. And today I'm here with none other than my good brother, Mr. 19 Keys. Peace to the God, man. How is everything going for you? Don't talk to me. All right.
How we doing, man? Blessings to the gods, man.
Edit them out. Let me call him Meji in. No, I'm just kidding, man. Let's get it. How was the weekend?
New York is like going through portals. I had tweeted that out. And it's real, man. This is probably my favorite New York trip. One of my favorites, because, of course, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We have some legendary New York trips. I'm not going to lie. Some very legendary ones. So, like, my first time going on the Breakfast Club to performing at Apollo. Yeah, so when I was out there, man, I think one realization I had, too, was, like, sometimes be on this journey. We be talking about how we do so many things by ourselves. I know I get to that point sometimes. I'll be like, man, no elders be looking out, or I ain't never had no mentors, no OGs or nothing. But if I'm being honest, it's not really true, man. I had a lot of people that helped me along this journey, you know. And I was thinking of when I was out in New York and my brother Blue Pill and Red Pill embraced me. And I met with them. I believe he was out in Harlem, I want to say, right? And even my brother Black Magic, you know, giving me an interview on his platform. You know, I just think about all the people that embraced me at different points in time in my journey. And number one, shout out to them two brothers, because they really are pillars. You feel me? They really are. I think elders in this community are heading to eldership in this community. And there's some of the OGs that I feel like do it the right way, right? They're constantly giving guidance. And we got to have appreciation for each other and gratitude so that it becomes this village of reciprocation. Because when you doing stuff, man, you kind of get to this hardened place sometimes. Be like, man, and it probably fuels you at the same time. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing for me. I got to do everything myself, right? But you got to really just stop and give gratitude to all the people who helped you, even if it was a little bit. You feel me? Because there's so many elders like Baba Haru, Baba Kamane, right, that, you know, pulled up on a platform, you know, and gave classic, you know, conversations and allowed me to be able to be in their wisdom and their presence. And, you know, I feel like I've been embraced, you know, a lot because, you know, I represented something that was missing. And so I just want to thank everybody along my journey that has assisted the ascension. And we're nowhere near where I want to be, but I know that I ain't gonna get no further if I'm not grateful.
Man, I asked you, how was your weekend?
Hey, when you asked a question, that was how my weekend was, man.
You just was reflecting.
That was the pinnacle.
Gratitude.
Yeah, when I went out to New York, that was the pinnacle of my reflection. You know what I mean? Like, that was the high point of, like, man, because I was thinking about all my journeys back and forth to New York.
Right.
You feel me? And I just started being grateful. What sparked it was the interview I had with Lanaya about gun violence, and I just kept thinking about how much, number one, I never grieve, and then I was thinking about the Nuri Muhammad quote that gratitude is the antidote to grief, right? And it just made me want to appreciate the people that has assisted me that's still alive. You feel me? Because you don't know how many more conversations, days, minutes, hours you have. So I think that's where it took me to that place. Like, man, it's been a long journey, and nobody gets anywhere to any level of success without some assistance. It takes a village. So you got to really just kind of think about your village people who helped you. And honestly, I don't think Blue Pill and Red Pill get enough credit. That's why I brung them on my platform multiple times, because they've assisted me millions of times. So, you know, it just made me want to prompt to put that out there in the universe so that other people think about people that has assisted them, and maybe that's what they want to do as well.
Yeah. Speaking of a good brother, Red Pill, he had put up a post over the weekend talking about this new Eminem record that came out.
Oh yeah.
And he said the record whack. And I had wrote in the comments, I'm like, man, based on the content that we drop on our platform in here, I feel like that song in particular, shit, you should agree with it. Cause he basically was calling out all the agendas that's being pushed, and he wasn't rocking with it. So I didn't understand like how Red Pill ain't rock with that song, But I think he took my comment the wrong way, cause he kind of like his response was like totally the opposite of the tone that I typed it in.
I don't know, but I don't think. I mean, it's Eminem. I didn't really have no expectation.
That's what I wrote too.
So I mean, like nobody ever has expectations of Eminem.
Dang.
So Eminem is a talented ass rapper, right? If we being honest, he's extremely talented as a rapper. And honestly, as a shady record, I thought it was good. As far as I judge music differently. Like I don't judge it as something that's about to save hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't judge it as like it's just my type of music. I judge it based on what is this person trying to do, right? And did they do a good job delivering? That's how I judge albums. That's how I judge songs, right? Like Drake just came out with a record where people were saying that we wouldn't understand as Americans because it's supposed to be a Toronto tune.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, then if I'm being honest, I can't really judge it because I don't get the culture and the context around it. So it's like there's a lot of music.
An AI song.
Nah, it's supposedly it's really his.
Oh yeah.
Supposedly, like there's a lot of music in the world that I don't get that people love. So I think music is a personal relationship to the person's ears, but as a listener, I'm always judging the talent based on what were they trying to execute, did they get it done? And so it'd be interesting to see what Eminem does with the album. I historically always talk shit about Eminem not being, top 5, top 10, whatever. But in the state of rap, in the condition that it is in right now, man, it's getting worse and worse by the day.
Fact.
And so at least industry rap, I don't know what the hell J. Cole dropped. And
that last J. Cole song, that wasn't a good follow-up after that album.
Him and Drake,
he was spitting on that last album he just dropped.
Him and Drake was smoking the same thing this week. This one day, I
guess now you know what it is, like it's that pivoting moment in their career to where they fresh off of, having all the attention of the world from the tour. Then they get into the beef, and now they don't know like how the people gonna receive their music from that point on after the Kendrick beef, So they just putting out little mumble rap records right now.
I feel like I look at it almost like Drake retired. I mean, I don't know if it's forever, but I believe that he wanted to take a break before this beef in the first place. So, if anything, I don't really see him going hard in the next few months.
See, this the thing. He can't take a break now.
Well, Kendrick got the Juneteenth. He probably gonna drop his album at the same time. You
can't take a break though, because it's like shit. Now you gotta it's like he
had the
point. This the thing. If he take a break, it's like everything that he built up to this point don't even matter no more. Now he got to reprove himself.
I don't think that that's true, because first of all, there's two parts of this. Because there's one thing I wanted to bring up what Drake did with the AI music, because we was in Soho out in New York and they was playing BBL Drizzy. Right, by King Willonius. Like they just playing like it's just a regular song. And I'm like, he messed up because he ushered in this paradigm of AI music being acceptable. And it was first as something like, I'm not gonna listen to it, that's soulless. Now people listen to it, no problem. Right? And so because he's the top rapper, right, he ushered that in. So it's unfortunate because I believe that just because you have technology don't mean you should use it, right? And I think that music is one of those things that steals jobs instantly from people and steal money out of real artists' pockets when you got this AI music, and especially when you got people that don't have real talent siphoning from the talent of the world, utilizing machines, right, in order to create music that's based on these artists. And unfortunately, they probably not making no money from the AI stuff in the first place. Because I was thinking about King Melonius, he put that out there, but Drake rapped on the track, and he not getting paid from that. Sexy Red rapped on it, and he ain't getting paid from that. You got the biggest song, you essentially made the first viral AI song. So he did make history. I give him that 100%. But then you got two of the biggest artists in the game rapping on your song, your beat that you made, and you don't get paid. I wonder how that would feel.
I think when he initially made the beat, it was like on some parody type shit. He was gonna actually give it out for free. Whoever had the best song, just so it can go trending, but he didn't think it was gonna.
Yeah, but when they made an actual song out of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, Metro took it at first without even giving them credit. Then Drake got on it.
Oh, so Metro never made this?
No, Metro didn't make that. This is brother named King Melonius that made that. Metro just took it.
See, I just gave y'all a whole fact, and I was wrong just now because I was talking about Metro just now.
Nah. King Melonius took it. Metro just heard it. You feel me? And then Metro took it. But the brother King Melonius is the one who made it, which is a cold game. That's what I'm saying. Like, people don't even know. So it's like they playing it and he not getting paid for it. So I think it's getting worse and worse out here in these AI streets for people.
All right, so I know you've been saying it's been a lot going on when it comes to, legal issues in America. And Donald Trump has just been found guilty of all his charges stemming from the fraud cases.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had questions about whether or not he can pardon himself, and the answer is no, because you can only pardon yourself if it's a federal crime, but this just so happened to be a state crime. And they wanted to know if, like, you can kick him off of ballots like they was trying to do at the beginning of the year, which you can't, again, because it's gonna go back to that it was the insurrection law. So they can't kick him off unless, the states got their own rules. That's the only way, but I don't see it happening. But today they just confirmed that, he was out on bond for the RICO charge in Atlanta. But the appeals court just pushed it off until 2025, so he just dodged another bullet. So what's your thoughts on this Trump journey right now, going on in 2024?
I think they empowered him. I think he got $200 million, they said, or something, from donors afterwards. And I think that the Democrats are going real hard, but I think that, a lot of this stuff backfiring on them. I think they showing their hand and they desperate to get points on the board against this man, but I think they're making him an even more dangerous opponent with everything that they do, right? Because what is the election going to be? If you take out a presidential candidate, right, by utilizing your power, right, what do you think that's going to do to his base? They just go accept the power of the candidate that they put in there. America works because people believe in a democracy, right? So if people believe that they can't vote for who they want to be in office, then America doesn't work. So then that's when you go get real insurrections. That's when you go get militias and wars and things of that nature, and that can turn into a civil war. So I think that they better chill playing the game. And that's a fiery game that they playing. Because if you take Donald Trump off, then you basically forcing them to go with Biden. That's not democracy, right? And then you got RFK, but they won't even give him Secret Service and won't even let him debate so that you don't get the independent candidate in the race in the first place. So, America is not looking like, traditional America whatsoever. It's looking like a silent civil war that's happening in a political way. And I think it's the most dangerous game that America has played in front of the people in modern age.
I think Trump just said the most relatable thing once he got convicted. Once he got found guilty for those charges, he went on news press afterwards, and he called the judge crooked. Say we got a crooked judge. Now, this is happening before he go to sentencing. And he just recently did an interview after the press conference, and they was like, why would you say that before you go up for sentencing? And his response was, you gonna beg for anything. Now, I respect that because, a lot of black people, we already get found guilty before we even go through the trial and all that. We don't get a chance to even beg in the first place of whether or not what we're gonna do. And if we do get to beg, they still gonna give us the worst of the worst, But I think he just showed America who they really are, how they operate.
Yeah, I think we need Trump in the world to expose the political agenda and for people to see reality what it is,
Yeah.
right? Buy-in is exposed too, right? Because people look at it and be like, first of all, Trump is such a attractive candidate to people because they hate Biden so much. And that means that whatever good that the Democrats have done, it has not been effective enough as communication from the people to say that we believe that y'all are running this government well, right? We look at what happened with Dr. Fauci, right? Dr. Fauci, the vindication of all of the people, and I said this before, like shout out to everybody that didn't take the shot. They was calling you woke, they was calling it conspiracy, right? It was all of these people, you know, I had the arguments, I talked about it with Lupe Fiasco and all the different people at that time that was going hard for those shots, social distancing, wearing these. And it was just because some white dude made it up. Just because some doctor just said, do this, and it became, you know, this authoritative dictatorship, right, would do as I say or else. So, you know, I listen to Farrakhan. He say, don't take it, I'm done with it. There ain't nothing else for us to talk about. And, you know, everything comes to light. They had Rizza Islam on that top 10, right, list of the most dangerous disinformation dozen. Shana betted all the lies. Because if you mention the word, man, you had to get so creative to figure out how to still get the message out. People was losing jobs. People, I just talked to a lady to say she lost, you know, her business essentially because of it. And man, so many people went under, you know, and it was such a disrespectful time to people's intellect and common sense that we had to completely disregard it to live in this dumbed down state of fear because somebody else said so. And it was doctors and scientists and people that you consider to be valid were getting thrown under the rug and deplatformed and, you know, demonetized and censored. So it's like that America has exposed America more than anything. You can try to blame Donald Trump for the way America is. That's a lie. It ain't even Biden. So it's the government and the way that this structure and this system has been set up. And when you follow the breadcrumbs of the money of these billionaires, these corporations, you're going to see who really run America. And that's profits. Money runs America.
But actually, just looking back, you know, since we got past the pandemic, that was a crazy time the way they set it up like that. You know, they couldn't go to their own loved ones' funerals. They closed the courts down. People had to sit in jail extra time. People couldn't work and make money, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, damn, they real life strategically did this on purpose. I wonder if people can sue the government for that. What you think?
I mean, the people can do anything. That's the whole thing about the people. Will the people do it? And the people soft right now, right? And the reason the people soft because it ain't no spiritual warrior masculinity in society. It's not the framework of society, right? If you go look at if the men in society are soft, there would be no revolution, right? And so they've done a good job at making males effeminate, right? And they don't have any of that revolting and revolutionary spirit to not want to be controlled by weak forces. So they accept everything. We accept everything. The people are the power. But when the people don't know their power, try to use their power, recognize their power, communicate their power, then they allow the systems, the forces, the government, right, to enact whatever rule of law they want to, whether it's lawful or unlawful. Man, today can't look in the mirror, right, and act as if we are respected in the world without going against those who go against us. Like, it should offend your light that this place is so dark. You feel me? Like, ain't no way that the system of education and the food, like, let's look at the food. Like, our bread is banned in places because they got chemicals in the bread that's not real. Our air is bad. Our water quality is bad. There's plastics in our testicles, right? Literally, that's bad. And it's like, you don't find that an issue to be like, man, enough is enough. When will enough be enough? They literally got children, you know, putting gender bending chemicals in their body and doing surgeries. That's not enough. Right? Like,
now, speaking
when
of
will
that,
enough
right,
be enough?
it's funny you brought that up because that was my next My next point. Okay, Louisiana lawmakers have approved a bill that allowed judges to order surgical castration as an additional
Oh,
punishment
wow.
for sex offenders.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Now,
as long as they're guilty.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's the only point where I don't agree with it on, because black people get like disproportionately put in prison for these crimes, and then they get exonerated. We got a high rate of getting exonerated for sex crimes that we didn't commit. And when I say we, that means I'm talking about black people, not me per se. Because I don't feel like that should ever be a law. Because like you said, if you're guilty and you had to go through that, that's fucked up.
I think that there should be just a certain burden of proof, right? Like if there's a level of burden of proof where, saying that if your peers saying that you're guilty don't mean you're guilty. We accept that, right? To say that this is what a trial is, and if they say you're guilty, but that doesn't mean you're guilty.
Now they say you can refuse it, but if you refuse it, you get an additional 3 to 5 years in jail.
Damn. So nuts, you gotta cut your nuts.
And you go nuts while you're in the
Or you gotta go nuts. That's crazy. Like I said, it gotta be a certain level of burden of proof. Like, I'm not talking about a jury of your peers saying you guilty. It have to be a level of evidence, right, that is irrefutable, right? And there should be no room for, appeal or whatever. It's like how you see Diddy beating Cassie. That's irrefutable. Okay, boom. So if there's like some type of, I ain't even gonna just say DNA. It gotta be. I'm not sure what that burden of proof is, but it should be something to satisfy. But I'm also, as much as I want all of them sick bastards to just,
I feel
be
like
unalived, the cautionary tale is giving people who are just as sick as the people that they are putting in jail, because these lawmakers be sick as hell as well. You feel me? It's just them having power to create laws, right? And understanding that who gets the worst end of these things is usually black men. Yeah, it's good. It's easy to go with your emotions about it, but when you look at the logic of it, we always get the worst end when they create these dystopian laws.
Yeah, because I had read a story about this. In 1949, it was 4 black men, and they were falsely accused of, the R word to a white woman. And 70 years later, they end up getting exonerated. So that just made me think, like, nah, they can't put that law into effect, bro, because that shit is gonna backfire against our race. Anything to stop the repopulation of us, bro. That's what they doing, really.
If you're going to jump into Crownz Society, you're saying that I represent power, I represent knowledge of self.
Stepping in the name of drip, get ready with me. Stepping in the name of drip, get ready.
I wear the crown to just symbolize, like, I know who I am, I know why I'm here, I know my purpose.
It's abundance, it's royalty, it's prosperity, it's energy.
Put in.
Yeah.
I gotta walk with my head held high, because you gotta see this and you gotta see this.
I believe that if anybody wants to be able to protect their mind and be able to think freely, you gotta get Crownz Society today, man.
Neo after the blue pill, the color palette's all black. James Bond mixed with Malcolm X in my Che Guevara era.
What's your thoughts on China aiming to ban social media flaunting? People flossing their wealth. What's your thoughts on that?
I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
I think we need to do that in America. Not real life, because it's gonna force people to have to show something else. Right? Like, honestly, who cares about your car? Who cares about you can get on the jet? You know what I mean? Who cares that, you have, like, these things is also like, it's an easy manipulation tactic, right? Because you can rent these things. It doesn't, just because you have these things don't mean you're a good teacher. It don't mean you can actually help other people get them just because you got them. Right? There's so many different ways you can obtain it, but then it also makes men so shallow. You feel me? Like, we talk about women being shallow, men are shallow as hell. You feel me? No depth to him whatsoever. You meet a man and he don't have a philosophy of life, he's shallow. And this is why men have to show you what's on the outside, because there's not much on the inside going on. So I believe that it'll make a society that has more depth to them. Like, all right, so how you gonna prove that you a threat now? How you gonna prove that you got value now? You got to show your mind.
So what's your aspect on it if you look at it from this point of view of the government trying to control what I post on my personal page?
They already do that. At least they finally doing something that's a good control. Yeah. Right? Look at Twitter. Twitter officially allowing porn on there. The government should censor that. Right?
Yeah, I thought it been like that.
Officially, right? They changed some of their like laws. But it's like sometimes government regulation is not a bad thing. They just don't be using it all the way for good things, right? But like if there was government regulation on censoring sexual explicit content on the internet, would that be a bad thing for society? Absolutely not. Right? If there was something where we ban explicitly over flaunting of wealth, would that be a bad thing? No. Right? It'd be bad for these companies, right?
It'd be bad for lifestyle branding, huh?
Yeah, lifestyle branding, but so what? People have to pivot. You know, so I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that those are the type of things that if a government cared about their people more and they cared about the future of the citizens more, right, then those are the things that you would want to enact. It's just corporations run America, so they not going to do that, because why would corporations stop you from flaunting so that another person doesn't have the aspiration, right, to want to do the same thing? Because it's really the most dangerous thing in the world, because people live a sick lifestyle chasing somebody else's, right, resources. And that's all people do. You can't be happy with your life at all, because all you're doing is watching what somebody else has and you want it, and you want it, you want it. You ain't even paying attention to what you got. So I think it's one of the sickest, most toxic trends of social media. Nah, I don't need to see what another man got to wear. And excessive flaunting, because we know what that is. Right? People be excessively just looking corny on the internet, and it's like, bro, there's a way that you do it. And I think that, you know, people were more mindful of that, then it'll get rid of a lot of the corniness. And I think men will have to have more depth in the world versus just having cars, clothes, money.
I was just gonna say, I think it'll definitely, I think the good part of it is it'll stop people from chasing the likes, you know what I'm saying, on Instagram. You know, if you ain't got it, if you can't floss, if it's banned to do all of that, people just be regular, like you said.
I think we should ban
we'll see a more human side of people.
Excessively bushed up bodies. We should. I don't want my daughter to even have a choice to butch up her body.
Yeah.
You know, her choice. Hey, look, how about we just remove the choice, the option, so she ain't got to make that choice. Because if you're a young girl, you looking at these bodies and now this is an option for you. Oh, when I get up here, I'm just going to buy me some breasts. I looked at this. There was this video I seen on Instagram, and it was asking all these adults, like, if there was one thing you could change about your body, what would you do? So some people was like, oh, the bridge of my nose, or, you know, some people was like, you know, my eyebrows, or I do a facelift, or chin, or, right? It was all of these different things that, you know, people were talking about that they would change about themselves or like their body, all these adults. Then they asked the children, and the child was like, I don't know. I had dragon wings.
Right.
You feel me? I don't know. I had pointy ears like an elf. But it wasn't from a place of insecurity, from a place of imagination. What can I add on to what I already have, not alter something about me to fit in? Right? And most of the world, if you ask them that question, they go look in the mirror, and there's so much insecurity that you want to change yourself to try to fit in. Right? And so you got these trends that's out there to where, you know, people are not happy with the way that they look because a filter just showed you looking better, at least your idea. People don't want natural beauty, right? So when you see somebody to be like, well, just go buy you a body, just go get you a new butt, just go get you some new abs, right? Just go order you a new gut. Like, no, like it takes away from that human thing to, there's no responsibility of eating right, no responsibility of training. And then what comes with that? The discipline. The reward of discipline that comes with actually working
what
out.
I didn't know is that, like, once the girls get them those little BBLs, that they go for second and third rounds and enhance them even more. I ain't know that. Now that's good doing too much.
And, you know, shout out to all the women that, you know, that have them, that, you know, made that decision. I'm not here to talk bad about you. I'm not here to do any of that.
That's what you're doing.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing that at all. I want to, bro, because I love the sisters. You feel me? I ain't talking bad about it. I'm talking bad about the ideas, the demons. It be the demons, right? Like, it's natural for a woman to have cellulite. You feel me? It's natural for a woman to go through bodily changes after birth. It's natural for her breast to sag a bit. And I think that that's something that we have to let women know more as men. You feel me? We have to celebrate that more, because you're going to talk about that body, right? But then if a woman starts sagging, then you making jokes about her breasts and now she's insecure. You feel me? So it's like we have to celebrate natural women as well, right? If we want more women to be okay with being natural. So it's like having, you know, essentially a safe space in the way that we communicate. You feel me? To women, because that affects them. So not only you got men, then you got the industry, and then you got other women. So you have all of these different, you know, places that burden the consciousness about, you know, their own self-worth and self-reflection and insecurities. And every time they turn on the TV, it's this botched up body that looks so-calledly perfect that they're trying to obtain that doesn't really exist.
Yeah, that's all around LA. Well, I was gonna say, when you hear the word clarity, right? What's the first thing that come to your mind?
Clarity?
Yeah. You know, I'm from St. Louis. We talk with a little slur.
I think for me, clarity, I think vision, number one. Being able, knowing, not just like believing or thinking, when you know something, right? When you have clarity on something, like, I know what I'm about to do. I know who I am, right? It's a level of honesty. At the same, I think honesty helps you get there, but that clarity is like that level of knowing exactly what you need to do, knowing who you are, knowing where you are, knowing why you are, and you're not in that questioning phase. I'm not trying to figure out nothing, right? It's a level of clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I asked you that because today I seen two different clips on circulating online, and it's between, one was Kodak Black and one was Lil Durk, and both of them have been on a journey of sobriety or whatnot. And Lil Durk confessed that he's been in rehab and doing therapy, and both of them was saying like how much clarity they got since they don't take pills no more, take the Percocets no more. And I thought that was powerful, and I should spread the message, because like you got to step back in your life and just figure out the clarity, get the clarity, and meditate, and, you know what I'm saying, take time to yourself on this healing journey, you know. And it was powerful because it came from these two brothers who was like advocates for taking Percocets and doing all the type of crazy drugs, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of circles about everything we've been talking about. You know, you got the flaunting lifestyle, you got the bodies, you got all that, and it's like, I think we go have to go through this phase. And this is what I see. Hip hop is going to go through a phase. The world's going to go through the most honest phase ever. I listened to my brother Ferg play me his album in the car out in New York. I listened to his album through and through. And it was a very honest album. That's what I got from it. Through and Through was a great project. Beat selection, everything, production, immaculate. He got this one song I need a verse on for sure. But it was honest. You know what I mean? Revelations about his own life, why he really do things, right? And I'm like, I know what these type of albums are going to do. Is it going to make your fan base go connect with you more? But what it's going to want them is going to then have them looking at the other artists like, I want an honest album from you now. Tell me about who you really are. Tell me about your real life. The flaunting is not real. No matter who it is in the world, when you just, oh, I'm smoking perps, I'm none in it. Like, you feel me? None of that is actually real. That's not a human being. That's a character on every single person in the world.
So you saying basically it's gonna do a shift to it becomes no ego rap.
Yes, it's gonna have no ego rap.
Yeah.
Because just think about this. Imagine if, so you got one rapper who do it, and then if everybody starts to do it, because it's gonna provide that opportunity where audience gonna be like, damn, I wonder what Future would sound like if he did one of these albums. You feel me? Oh, I wonder what color sound like he did one of these albums. And you gonna want it from every one of the rappers, and it's gonna create a new industry where people can be extremely themselves. You feel me? Like extremely authentic and honest. And you gonna be able to connect to an audience in a way you never thought of. You gonna be telling them secrets about yourself, right? Why do you do things? You gonna tell them about your
See, I
hurt
think
parts,
that's
your
a gift
past.
and a curse too, because I was like, some people be too damn honest and putting out all their business on the internet. You
It's
know,
gonna go to that extreme. But then people be too fake.
yeah, that too.
They be
yeah,
so far from the persona.
We gotta go in middle ground because
Yeah.
sometimes I don't want to know certain personal shit about people. You
Right.
know,
But
but sometimes, like you said,
it's
I don't
go-
want
it's
to know
go-
the extreme.
That's
either.
gonna be watch this go. It's 100% timestamp. This is going to be a cycle, right? Where we're gonna go to extreme honesty. And the beauty about that though is it's probably gonna be the safest time in the world because it's gonna be a place where it ain't about no cancellation. You feel me? It's about like, no, I'm actually human, you human. You feel me? Like, why do like when you got rappers that rap about abusing drugs, womanizing, trauma, like, but why? What happened to you? Who are you?
Alright,
feel
so this
me?
the thing though, right? Because I can agree
But then
that
it
I
gotta
can
be good
agree.
music
Yeah, I
too,
was just
though.
gonna say I can agree that it'll become that because you know this just started off with nothing but gossip. It's still gossip going on. Then this ship over to people just being honest. But what happens after that?
Well, I
That's
think
the
that
thing.
period can last a long time because we got a lot of fakeness to go through. Look how long the fake period lasts.
Mm.
You feel me? This been going on for a long time. The lifestyle rappers, the flaunting rappers, right? Just the drug dealer, the trapper rappers. It's been going on for a minute. So I don't even want to focus what happens after that. I think you go into an extremely creative place after that, right?
Yeah.
It's like you look at the Andre 3000s of the world. He was ahead of his time, right? But he was being authentically himself. And once you get to an authentic place, now it's like, all right, be the real person you are. Be the child that you are. Because at heart, all artists are just children. Hurt children, playful children, spirited, right? And they either try to cover up that child, you lash out, you angry, you a jail rapper, right? You trying to protect the child. It's just children, but I think you'll get to a real place of creativity.
Yeah, when I would hope that it get to that because what we tend to do in this culture is compare artists most relevant album. Well, that's the wrong word. The most current album to their first album, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to step back and realize that they human and they evolve and they grow and they not going through those same situations that led to their album being created, you know. So we got to like kill that in the culture too, as it takes this shift on.
But that's why it's important for the artist to curate who they are to the world. I mean, we talked about this before. Like you just pop out and you a different person. People don't know who you are.
That's the disconnect.
But if you do it the right way, and you curate your journey and you got that transparency and that honesty and you letting people know, then they're following along, right? So the album, and people will have to create real projects, not just songs, because it would have to take people through an emotional journey with you. But at the same time, I think production will have to be super high quality. It cannot be any sacrifice of actual song making, and it has to be in you. You feel me? You can't just say, oh, I want to do it. You got to actually go through a real journey of cleansing, then do it. So you're making music from the same place. You feel me? Like you're vibing with it, and it just happened to be what's on your mind. Not, oh, they do it, I want to do it. So I think that's going to be the difference between how some artists can do it really well, is that they actually do that internal work. And then it's like, well, shit, like Rod Wave say, I can't make the emotional. I'm not on that.
Yeah,
but whatever music he do make next is gonna be at same high quality because that's what he's on. And if he tried to make that music, the emo music now, it ain't gonna hit because he not connected to it.
Thanks. And that's why I'm glad we having these conversations because like I feel like a lot of people see the content and you know it forces you to put the mirror in your face, not even just for them, but for ourselves too. Like I know you talk about a lot. Reaching your zenith, you know, reaching like using 100% of your potential to get to where you need to be in life, you know. So it's like I'm looking forward to all the uncomfortableness, you know, that's coming along in 2024. You know, like Because at the end of the day, it ain't gonna do nothing but help us grow as a whole.
100%. I think that this year a lot of people are frustrated. This is a mirror year. You got to look in the mirror, and you will do a lot of self-examination this year. And what I've been talking with people and I've been learning is just this trend of everybody, like, I've been having to use this year to recover. Last year, I think everybody got burnt out. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? Because we're just doing so much, and spirit needs rest. And I think this year was like, let me breathe and connect myself. And, you know, by this time, you should be well rested, right? We're going into summer. You should be well rested, and you should be ready to get back to that marathon. But I just want to caution people, don't do the same thing that got you to that place of burnout. You know, rest is as important as work. And if you want to turn this into a marathon for real, you're going to have to learn how to properly have harmony within your life. Not about harmony, you know, things flowing the right way. I think that's super important. Creating feng shui, right? As Nuri Muhammad, living a clean life. You know, for me, like, my growth is when I like acknowledge myself getting better, right? At things that that were vices, like, you stronger now. Like, that to me is progress in life, right? More discipline, right? And it'd be the small wins, you know, and especially the private wins be meaning more, because this ain't something I'm flaunting to the world. This is something I'm flaunting to myself. You feel me? Like, damn, I'm really better, and I'm better, and nobody was even watching me.
Now, before you make it to that point to where you feel like that and you feel better, how do somebody go about breaking the mindset of making excuses?
I think you got to shame yourself first. You gotta be willing to feel the shame of looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself. Looking in yourself, like, because I think the excuses come from you not wanting to integrate with your shadow of saying that this is who I really am. I've done these things, right? You have that part of yourself that you feel ashamed of. And here's the caveat to this. Do not live in shame. That's absolutely wrong. That makes people seek drugs. That makes people seek, you know, a type of behavior that's self-destructive. Do not live in shame. Feel it, though. Feel it and remind yourself, I don't ever want to feel this again, right? Don't make an excuse for it. I don't feel it, like, damn, something wrong with me. Accept it, right? And now you gonna have guilt. I was wrong. Acknowledge that, right? All right, let's go through our process of redemption. I want to be better.
Now, when you're going through this process of redemption, you ain't doing that for the world. You doing this for yourself.
Yeah, world ain't got to know
right?
nothing.
They ain't even got to know about this shit.
Yeah,
like,
I think that if you do it for other people, it becomes performative.
Yeah.
You don't do it for a partner. You don't do it for family. You don't do it for none of that. You have to do it for yourself, because that becomes you know, and some people are different, right? But when you do it for yourself, I think you're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it for real reasons. Because if, let's say you're doing it for a partner, what if y'all break up? Right? Then all of a sudden you go back to it like, man, I did all that for them and they didn't stay. And now you go back and retort to the person you was. But when you do it for yourself and you do good when nobody looking and you get better when nobody looking, that's the real you. The real you is when nobody looking, when you don't get no points for it, no nothing. That's the real you. You really trying to be disciplined. Nobody go care about the battle you having with yourself. Nobody knows but you. But you got to remember, like, you always in a room with yourself, right? You always watching yourself, and you record every single thing that you do. And it's the moments where you're like, wait a minute. You know, even though I don't have to be better, I am getting better. It's because there's a side of you that is better. It's a side of you that is righteous, and there's a side of you that is dark. And you be like, all right, that is me. But you're not about to control me, though.
Yeah, I like that, because it reminded me something Solomon had asked you earlier. He was like, so what happens once you reach your peak? And I think you had responded something like, shit, it's a bigger hill outside of that.
Yeah.
You know, once you walk up the side of them
Yeah,
steps,
100%.
it's a bigger, you got something else to accomplish. So you might as well.
That's what healing is like, though. No pun intended, right? You know, healing really do that though, right? Like you heal one thing and all it does is clear it away, right? To know what's next.
For you to focus on something else and get
I'm
that
like,
clarity. Yeah.
man, boy, I thought I just got it. It was like, yeah, but you had this problem. You couldn't even focus on that. Your leg, goddamn, is bleeding. That's the biggest problem you go deal with. You don't even realize you got a headache. You know what I'm saying? You don't even realize I ain't even eating right. What's wrong with me? But this is such an immediate problem. You feel me? That you can't even focus on the other one. So when you patch up one thing and heal in one area, you go on a journey of healing. And that's why I call healing, right? It's a prefix. It's an action to let you know that ing is an action. It's an energy that you continue to do. So it's a journey. It's not a destination. And as a man, this is mental health month for men.
Yeah.
So it's a very important to heal. And, you know, you focus on which areas that you want to heal. But when you do that internal work, man, the rest of your life gets better. I'm just be honest with you. The rest of your life gets better. And you get better for the rest of your life.
But you know, one thing that I want to highlight about healing and whatnot, once you heal, or even if you in the process, you gotta help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta spread the knowledge that you learned along that journey, you know, because that's the only way to, you know, advance our people as a whole, as a culture, you know what I'm saying? Because it be a lot of people who want to change, but like you said, they be scared, or they ain't doing it for themselves. They'll be doing it for everybody else, you know?
Sometimes change only comes when you're willing to break something. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that $100 bill look good, but you got to break it to make change. You know what I'm talking about? So for me, you know, the world that you build up, you got to break it. You know, the facade of a personality, you got to break it. And not break it in the sense that it's self-destructing, but you move forward from it, right? You know, but you don't want to build on a shaky foundation. So that's why it's important to make sure, like, all right, before I move forward, is this and you know what's the toughest part is this question of like, if somebody outside was like, Steve, I'll give you $1 million right now. You want it now? Or do you want it a year from now? Now,
all right, let me answer this. What time is it?
It's right now.
Right now it's dark outside. Nobody outside. You got $1 million. Not just playing.
You definitely are.
Let me quit playing. No, finish what you was gonna say. I get it now or next year?
Yeah, you get it now or next year.
I'm gonna take the money right now. What you know why? Because like next year is not promised.
Right. That's what mostly everybody's going to say. But the toughest part about life, right, is knowing whether you want to empower the version that you are now or a better version of yourself. And let's say that the version that you are right now, right? Because there's versions of yourself that just get the money and completely blow it. Just blow it. And you know what'd be worse? You're going to be way worse off a year from now when you ain't got none of that money.
Yes.
Right? But what if, and this is where we don't have patience, and you can understand it with money, right? Because people are like, I'm going to take the chance. But what if you focused on healing yourself, educating yourself, developing yourself? You have a plan for it, you have vision for it, right? And now when you get the money, right, it's going to sustain you and you're going to build wealth from it because you're in the right place. But most of us we're not, when you can't really trust yourself to ask the question, to answer the question honestly, right? Because we're not in the right place. And so you got to ask, like, do I even want to empower myself with this thing right now? You feel me? Because can you really trust yourself, right, to do the right thing with it? And that goes from opportunities, that goes from relationships, that goes from money. We may want a thing very bad, but are we ready for it, right? And can I develop myself better so that a greater version of myself, right, is actually worthy of it and going to do the right thing with it? Because how many times have we messed up opportunities? How many times have we messed up money? How many times have we done things over and over? And that's because the person that was empowered with it wasn't ready for it, but we didn't have the discernment to know. So it's like, that's not something that the average person is willing to do, but there are some people in the world that know I'm not ready for this thing I don't want it right now.
Let me ask you, what you doing?
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it, Big Steve. I'm ready for it.
Now,
Yeah, it's certain things I'm not though. It's like, you know, I'm not ready for everything. If you know, I'm not in that place, there's certain power you're not ready for. You feel me? Like, would you want unbalanced, unchecked power right now?
It's funny you said that because I'm actually looking at these quotes I got saved in my phone and whatnot. And one of the quotes from you, and the first thing it says, when you have a clean mind and environment, things fall into place harmonious.
Harmoniously. And I got that from Nuri Muhammad, you know, because I want to have a clean mind and a clean life. And when you got a clean mind and a clean life, you ready for everything. That's the difference. So you got to look at, all right, what do I need to clean up first? Right? And if you got toxins in your life, right, then you go poison everything that you touch. So I believe that, you know, we don't know when we ready, right? And I think just by even questioning our readiness, I think is the best thing to do. Because, yeah, you gonna want to say yes, but you got to, if you start asking yourself the questions first, damn, am I really ready to get this? Am I in the right place? What will I do with it correctly? Now you setting yourself up. But most people won't ask themselves a question. They just start reacting and their habits jump in. And how many things unnecessarily you go spend that money, time, and opportunity on? A lot of unnecessary, and that's based on who you are today. Because when we come from places when we don't have, we try to fill the gap of the time of not having it, right? By utilizing those resources. And we justify that, well, we ain't never had nothing. Well, that don't mean like, and that's the worst thing, though, is to get something, but then act like you never had nothing.
I mean, I be saying this, I go through it a lot still, like with my little cousins, you know, like a lot of them still, they want to be in the streets and shit, you know, so I try to tell them like, you know, it's another way, it's another way. They don't want to listen because they feel like, shit, you used to do it, you know, but as I sit back and I see them on social media, I just realized how much of a fool I was. You know, that's how it make me feel.
Right.
That's where I feel my shame from.
Right. Because we used to do a lot of stupid stuff, man. And it was like, I always believe my greatest practice was trying to put myself in the shoes of a better version of myself. I really believe when I was younger, I've seen this version of myself before, you know, because I used to imagine, I used to be sitting there and just meditating, and then I just see like this dope ass version of myself, suited, got money, fly, and I'm like, yo, you feel me? That was really me that I was imagining.
Like, I thought you wanted to be a cop. That's what you used to say.
A cop?
Growing up, yeah. That was like, you know,
I ain't never seen
your version
like
of you being suited up. You was like a lieutenant.
Nah, you must mistake that for my general suits. I was a general.
Oh, yeah.
I was a general, militant. You feel me? No, but for real though, that's what I seen. You know, and it's like right now, it gets harder and harder, right? The more you go up to picture an even greater version than yourself. I think that's the thing, right? Like the more you climb, right, the heavier it is. So it's like now picturing a greater version of myself is harder because, you know, you get into this place where it's like, all right, if you keep going, what you think? You gonna be the president? You gonna be the king of the world? Like, nah, I want to build my own world. But then you realize that a greater version is like a morally greater version, a more righteous version. You know what I'm saying? Like making people feel better. You feel me? Being a service to others, being a better brother, right? Being a better uncle, you know, being a better friend. Like,
you say a greater version of yourself is like enhancing your morality, basically.
Yeah, morally greater version. Like, you know, because when I was younger, because I didn't have these things, I'm thinking about like, you know, the version of myself that have the things that I don't have, that has the wealth, right? The fame, the money, the power, right? But it's like now it's like, you know, I want a more righteous version of myself. And I think about how I make other people feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they can be proud of me from, I watch your accomplishments, you know, but how much time am I spending with them? That's a different version of myself. And I think that is when you have to sit down and you have to understand that wealth, that you already have that ability to do it. Because sometimes we make excuses. Well, I ain't got the time. I can't afford to do all of that. And be honest, it's cap. You know, we make time for the things that we want, right? I got my nephew coming out here. He might be on the next show. My nephew coming out here you know, and I heard he a little bad.
Ooh.
My older brother, son, Talute. But that's necessary because I want to be a better brother, a better servant, you know what I'm saying, a better leader in the world. And I feel like those are intangibles. So it's hard to envision that, but what you really do is you envision how you affect and impact others. You feel me? And then you start thinking about your deeds, and then you start to go about like, who are you internally? And that becomes a spiritual journey that you on, because people don't really think about that spiritual journey when they think about what are your spiritual ambitions. You feel me? Like, how do you want to become more? How do you want to stretch your soul? You feel me? And I think that that's a whole nother level as we go into this mental health for men or whatever. It's also it's about soul health, spiritual health, doing things that's good for your soul, because the mental health battles come from when we are going against our soul. You feel me? Like our soul. Like when we do things and it hurts us in our soul and we ain't connected to our values, that's a soul issue. Some people feel like they sold their soul. So yeah, your mind can't even wrap itself around how do you get back to a whole place, right? When it corrupts and messes with your spirit. You walking around with demons and your attitude is always messed up. So you got spiritual issues, right? In America, and this is one thing we have to get away from. We have to get away just thinking of everything as the mind. You know what I mean? Of the brain. In fact, we don't even think about the brain, because then we'll be corrected.
Do. On the next episode, we're going to curate the whole episode around that.
Yeah, let's do that.
I like that. Because like you said, it's mental health month for men, you know, so.
You got to get out karmic cycles. You got to live clean. You have to develop, you know, your spiritual consciousness, right? You have to have spiritual wealth and spiritual goals, right? You have to understand the darkness and the light, and the darkness and the light really speaks to your soul. That's what that speaks on.
It's facts, because it's like, you know, like you said, you got to go through the dark in order to get to the light. And I feel like everybody knows, especially a musician, right? Picture going to the studio, right? People always want to dim the lights in order to get in that creative mode. You know, that's exactly how your soul is. Sometimes you gotta lose everything, you know what I'm saying? Lose those connections in order to, you know, connect with a higher source and get your shit back in order, you know? I know I had to lose everything.
We have to, that's the beauty. You don't lose, you can never lose everything. Because the only thing we really own is ourselves, you know, and it's just our perspective. Like, you know, it's almost like
it's things that could cause you to make you feel like you lost yourself. You know, things that you chose to indulge in or do that'll make you feel like you lost yourself at a point, and you gotta go find yourself, like you said, because
you gotta
intangible that you got is yourself.
You gotta remind yourself, not find yourself, because you ain't really lost. You gotta remind yourself, like, yeah, I did that, because, you know, and that's where the forgiveness come in, to be like, when you start auditing yourself, this is how I ended up right here.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe this path was damn near inevitable, but the reason, and this is how I know I'm a good person, because I feel guilty in the first place. Right? I have a consciousness, which means that I have a light side that wants me to do better. And let me acknowledge this darkness, but let me lean into my light. You feel me? Like, I'm a better person than the things that I've done. So let that be my past and this be my future. You feel me? And so that's why, I mean, you can't lose yourself, right? Because even yourself is just up there reminding you, like, bro, you tripping. That's you right there. That voice has to be the one that's in control. You feel me? Because that voice get drowned out, and then you do things, and then this voice come back and be like, I remind you who you are, and this is why you about to feel guilty, because you know you weren't supposed to do it. You know you was raised right. You know you was raised better, right? And so now you having that conversation with yourself, like, what do we want to do? All right, we want to be more disciplined. We want to be more focused. We want more control. All right, what do? We move forward, right? I always remind myself, I had to take a walk earlier today. I just got a little stressed out. And I'm like, things could be worse, right? And things can get better and will get better. And you take that, you touch some dirt, you feel me? You gather yourself, breathe, and get back to it. And just understand the journey, man. Like, I got to learn more things in life. I had to get better, but I give myself grace. I give myself that grace. right? And that grace becomes a space that you need to grow. You feel me? Like, this was never supposed to happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight to my father. It didn't happen overnight to my grandfather. It didn't happen overnight to my uncle. There's no men on this planet that I know it happened overnight for. Every man that has something, right, is because they built it over time, not overnight. And there's men that they in their 40s and 50s, they didn't get their good start until their 40s and 50s, right? Most millionaires at first used to then become millionaires and reach their creative peak until their late 40s and 50s. So it's like, sometimes we think that we done wasted so much time, but you only waste time if you don't learn from your time, right? When you look back and be like, all right.
Yeah, when you know who you are,
Yeah.
it's easier to pinpoint your purpose. Yeah.
I think it was this quote right here. Experience is the hardest kind of teacher. It gives you the test first and the lesson afterward. Oscar Wilde. You know, so the problem with the experience is that sometimes we don't take the lesson afterward, because the lesson in a lot of ways is gonna make it worth it. Yeah, you know, you might, I blew a lot of money, I messed up, but what's the lesson? To never do it again, to know how to do it the right way. It was extremely costly. But if I learn from it and I don't do it again, then it's worth it.
My wealth.
Yeah, because now I'm more experienced. So either you cycle in the thought of what happened or you learn from it. And when you learn, you can move forward. And the problem is that we don't always learn, because of learning, we grow new neural connections and we operate on new patterns and new habits. And then we move forward and we're better for it. And then those become our stories to our journey of success. Man, I remember I had this, then I got it back because I learned this, and now I'm in this place, and now I'm teaching y'all so y'all don't have to do it, because experience is a tough teacher. If you want to go through it yourself, go through it. But the reason that I'm here and I can teach y'all because I went through it and I'm not going back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate you for having this conversation with me today. You know, the Man to Man podcast. And got anything you want to tell the people before I close out?
Yeah, you know, we always looking for people to come rock with the gods, man. We looking for sponsors of the podcast. We gonna have to start our Patreon for Man to Man, man. If you all want to help support the show, this show is not monetized whatsoever. They demonetize our YouTube channel. So if you support the show and you want to sign up monthly, join the High Level Club, you know, have a Patreon, so we can actually increase the production, right? We gonna have merch and things of that nature, guests, right? Maybe even tour with this. Who knows? I want to continue to make this platform bigger and bigger and bigger, and we need you all's help to do it. Crop your merch, get your gold water, you know, support any way that you can. Comment, like, subscribe, tap in. We're going to be starting new channels. And for anybody that wants to intern, and you in LA and you want to work with us, all you have to do is go to 19keys.com, fill out one of the applications, and we'll get back to you. And if you want to sponsor, go to 19keys at 19keys.com and let us know you want to sponsor this episode. You can have your product up here. We can talk about your service, your product, whatever. If you need more eyeballs to reach more people, and we don't just have to do it here, right? On the YouTube. If you sponsor the YouTube, then I'll post it on my stories on IG and other different places as well, but only if it's in line, right, with who we are. But I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you.
Peace to the family. We'll see you all next week. Stay godly.
Welcome to the Man to Man podcast. We talk like God. Man to Man.
I got a question for you. What does your cabinet look like? What is it that you're taking in your routine that's keeping you high level? If it's not our products, then whose products are you taking? And if it's no products, then that's a problem. Y'all seen our commercials for Gold Water, right? You've seen it all over High Level Conversations. You come to the show, you grab your bottle, people give us the best testimonials on the planet, and we got people on the go. The thing about Gold Water is it's not our only product. We have products like the vitamin C moss. We don't naturally produce vitamin C, so we got to get it in other forms. So therefore, especially during wintertime, we are able to keep that immune system functioning high. Let's say if you just want pure moss. This is just pure moss. I'm talking about a superfood, the best on the planet. And not just from anywhere, because you never know where people actually getting their moss from. I ain't never seen them take a trip to Jamaica. See, we get ours tested, right? To make sure that you're getting the highest quality, pure version of it, and you're getting those minerals in an over-chemicalized world. We got Smart Moss Gold,
right? That smart most gold is like a Viagra for the brain. You ever find yourself when your brain feels like it's low? You tap one of these and your brain gonna feel high level. Yeah, and women love a sapiosexual, so when those brains are popping and those ideals are running, you stay tapped in. You gotta make sure you stay safe out here. There's all sort of viruses and diseases that's running around this world, especially during this time. If you're traveling, make sure you spray this on the orifices throughout your body to kill any of those viruses or any of those things trying to invade you. Make sure y'all tap into goldwater.com so next time somebody asks you, what's keeping you high level? What's keeping you young and healthy and wealthy feeling? And now we can take some of that credit for it over here at goldwater.com. Make sure you keep your health journey running. It's a marathon. Peace.